The gala hall glittered with lights that reflected off polished floors and towering glass walls. Ships from distant star systems hovered just outside, their engines humming softly like the heartbeats of distant worlds. Inside, the guests moved with careful grace, their clothing shining with embedded circuits that shifted colors with every motion. Among them, one figure walked with quiet confidence. Her name was Mara. She had climbed from humble beginnings to lead one of the most powerful corporations in the galaxy. Her mind was sharp, her vision clear, and her ambition unshakable. Mara moved through the crowd with poise. She was dressed in a suit of deep violet that shimmered under the lights, a color chosen not just for elegance but for the subtle message it carried: strength and wisdom. People noticed her as she passed, some whispering, some simply pausing to admire the aura of calm authority that seemed to surround her. Mara had learned long ago that presence was as powerful as words. At the center of the hall, a long table was set for the main event of the evening. Holographic displays floated above the table, showing the logos of companies from multiple systems. Today was more than a gala. It was the meeting where Mara's company would secure a historic billion credit deal with a family that had controlled interstellar trade for generations. The deal promised not just wealth but influence, the kind that could shape economies and policies across multiple star systems. Mara approached the table, her steps measured. The family representatives were already gathered, their faces polished with practiced smiles. They were imposing, a lineage of power built on centuries of negotiation and influence. Mara's eyes met the head of the family, a man named Alaric. He was tall, with silver hair that gleamed like starlight and eyes that measured everything as if the world were a chessboard, and he was always 3 moves ahead. "Ah, Mara," Alaric said, his voice smooth, carrying the weight of command. "It is good to finally meet you in person. Your reputation precedes you." Mara inclined her head politely. "Thank you, Alaric. I respect what your family has built across the systems. I hope we can create something equally remarkable together." Alaric's smile widened, but there was something cold in it, a subtle calculation. Mara had sensed it immediately, the kind of subtle tension that could turn a handshake into a battlefield. She did not flinch. She had faced many such moments before, and she had learned to read them all. The discussion began formally, with assistants projecting financial reports, projected trade routes, and future profit models in holographic displays above the table. Mara spoke with clarity, explaining the unique advantages her company brought: faster transport routes, more efficient resource distribution, and advanced technology that could integrate seamlessly with the family's existing operations. Every point she made was supported by data, every projection calculated with precision. Despite her calm delivery, Mara felt the eyes of the family on her, testing, weighing, probing for weaknesses. It was part of the game, part of the ritual that she had come to expect. She matched their gaze evenly, neither intimidated nor swayed, her posture relaxed yet commanding. As the formal discussion ended, Alaric leaned forward slightly. "Mara, you are impressive, truly. But you must understand, trust is built over time. There are traditions here, ways we do business that cannot be rushed." Mara nodded, her voice steady. "I understand, Alaric. I value tradition, but innovation must also have a place. Progress waits for no one." A subtle tension hung in the air. Mara could feel it, a quiet ripple beneath the surface of polite conversation. She had faced betrayals before, even from those who smiled warmly in her presence. But she had learned to act decisively, to make her own power known when the time was right. Dinner was served, and the hall filled with the soft clinking of utensils and low murmur of conversation. Mara navigated the small talk with ease, engaging some of the younger representatives, asking about their lives on different colonies, listening carefully, making small notes in her mind. Every interaction mattered. Every detail could later become leverage, not through deception but through understanding. Then, without warning, the tone shifted. A subtle, almost imperceptible act of disrespect occurred. One of the family members brushed against Mara's shoulder in a way that felt deliberate, dismissive. She paused, measured her response, and chose not to react immediately. Mara had learned that power often hid behind gestures, and revealing emotion too soon could be dangerous. She continued the conversation, smiling politely, steering the dialogue toward shared goals and the future vision. Her calm demeanor drew attention. Some guests whispered among themselves, sensing that Mara was unshakable, that she would not be cowed. That perception, more than anything else, often determined outcomes in such gatherings. After dinner, the family invited Mara to a private chamber adjacent to the main hall. Holographic maps of trade networks lit the walls, shimmering like constellations. Alaric spoke more candidly here, away from the formal eyes of others. "Mara," he said, his tone shifting to something sharper, "your company is ambitious, but ambition can be dangerous without guidance. Are you sure you are ready for this level of responsibility?" Mara met his gaze without hesitation. "I have built my company from nothing. I have faced challenges that would have broken others. I am ready for responsibility, and I am ready to succeed." There was a pause. Alaric studied her, the faintest trace of surprise crossing his features. Most people would have flinched, shrunk back under that intensity. Mara's calm was like a mirror, reflecting confidence that few could maintain. Suddenly, another family member stepped forward, a younger man named Dalen. He leaned slightly too close, his expression a mixture of curiosity and arrogance. Mara sensed the challenge, a silent test of dominance. "You speak boldly, Mara," Dalen said. "But do you understand the cost of defiance?" Mara's voice remained steady. "I understand that success requires courage. I also understand that compromise must have limits. No deal is worth sacrificing principles." Dalen's eyes flickered as if surprised by her unwavering tone. Mara could feel the tension rising in the room, the quiet energy of a challenge accepted. She knew this was more than a negotiation. It was a test of character, of strength. In that moment, Mara realized that the room itself seemed to react to her presence. The air felt charged, a subtle hum vibrating through the chamber like the resonance of unseen energy fields. She had always believed that true leadership was not just about strategy or resources, but about presence, about the ability to command respect without demanding it. Mara stepped back slightly, letting her words linger in the air. She did not need to push further. Her calm confidence spoke louder than any argument could. The family members shifted subtly, adjusting to the unspoken power she projected. Finally, Alaric leaned back, a faint smile returning to his face. "You are certainly remarkable, Mara. Very well. We will continue our discussion, but know that this path will not be easy. Many have faltered where you now stand." Mara inclined her head. "I do not fear difficulty. I welcome it." As she left the chamber, the hum of conversation in the main hall felt different. The whispers had changed. People now spoke with a mixture of respect and curiosity. Mara knew the first move had been hers, and she had made it decisively. Outside the Gala, the night sky stretched endlessly, dotted with the lights of distant ships and distant worlds. Mara paused for a moment, letting the cool air wash over her. She reflected on the events inside, understanding that tonight was only the beginning. Challenges would come, and tests of strength and character would follow. But she had faced the first one and had emerged not just intact but empowered. Mara walked back to her ship, the glow of its engines lighting the ground beneath her. Her mind was already moving ahead, planning, calculating, preparing. She had learned long ago that power was not given. It was claimed, and it was maintained through courage, intelligence, and unwavering confidence. The stars above seemed to reflect her determination. Mara knew that the galaxy was vast and opportunity waited for those willing to seize it, and she was ready. The next morning, Mara's ship rose quietly from the docking bay, leaving the bright lights of the Gala behind. The city below was alive with motion, skyways filled with glimmering vehicles and towers that reached toward the clouds. Mara sat in her cabin, reviewing the data from last night's meeting. She did not relax. Success in her world demanded constant vigilance, and any sign of weakness could be exploited. Her assistant, Lyra, entered the cabin silently. Lyra was sharp, organized, and had been with Mara since the early days of the company. "The family has requested another meeting," she said. "They want to finalize the deal in the next 2 days." Mara nodded. "Good. Prepare the reports. I want every variable calculated, every projection tested. If they intend to challenge us, we will be ready." Lyra paused, a small frown crossing her face. "Mara, are you sure you want to push so hard? They are very powerful, and some of their associates are known to be difficult." Mara leaned back in her chair, her eyes calm but focused. "Powerful does not mean invincible. We know our strengths and we will use them. Preparation is our shield. Courage is our sword. The days passed in careful planning. Mara worked with her team, running simulations, double-checking trade models, and refining strategies. Every detail was considered. Supply routes, technological integration, and potential responses from the family. Mara knew that a billion credit deal was more than money. It was influence, and influence could change entire systems. On the second day, Mara received a message from Alaric himself, requesting a private discussion in a secure room aboard one of the family's ships. Mara agreed, knowing that such meetings were always a test, a subtle challenge to assert dominance or uncover weakness. When Mara arrived, the room was sleek and minimal, with views of the galaxy stretching endlessly through wide observation windows. Alaric stood by the window, his figure calm and imposing. Beside him was Dalen, who had shadowed Mara during the gala, his expression unreadable. "Welcome, Mara," Alaric said. "Please, sit." Mara chose a seat across from him, her posture confident yet relaxed. "Thank you, Alaric. I appreciate your time." Alaric's gaze was steady. "We have been reviewing your company's proposals and projections. They are impressive, but there are concerns. Some of our associates believe that your approach is too bold, perhaps even reckless." Mara did not flinch. "Boldness is necessary for progress. Calculated risks are part of every great achievement. I assure you, every step is planned with precision." Dalen leaned forward slightly, his voice measured. "You speak well, Mara, but words can hide weaknesses. Can you withstand the pressures of a real partnership? Can you navigate the challenges that come with billion credit responsibilities?" Mara met his gaze directly. "I have faced challenges that many cannot even imagine. I do not fear responsibility. I embrace it." There was a silence, heavy but not uncomfortable. Mara could feel the subtle tension in the room, the unspoken testing of her strength. She did not need to speak further. Her calm and confident presence was itself a demonstration. Alaric finally spoke, his tone softer. "Very well. We will continue discussions. But know this. Trust is earned, not given. Actions speak louder than words." Mara nodded. "I understand, and my actions will speak for themselves." As she left the room, Mara felt a flicker of unease. Not fear, but awareness. She knew the family well enough to understand that their true power lay not in words, but in subtle maneuvering, in tests designed to reveal vulnerability. She would be ready. Back on her ship, Mara and Lyra analyzed every aspect of the meeting. "They are testing you," Lyra said. "It is not personal, it is business. But they will try to find a way to intimidate you, to make you doubt yourself." Mara leaned forward. "Doubt is the enemy of progress. I will not give them the satisfaction. We continue to prepare, we continue to improve, and we remain steady. That is how we win." That evening, Mara decided to visit one of her company's research stations orbiting a nearby planet. The station was a hub of innovation, with engineers and scientists working tirelessly on advanced propulsion systems and energy distribution models. Mara walked through the corridors, observing her team with pride. These were her people, her company, and their combined knowledge and determination were unmatched. She met with the lead engineer, Taryn, who showed her a new prototype of a resource transport vessel designed to operate faster and more efficiently than anything in the market. Mara examined the data carefully. "This is remarkable work, Taryn," she said. "Once integrated with our proposed system, it will give us an undeniable advantage. Keep testing, keep improving. The family must see our value clearly." Taryn nodded. "We are pushing limits, Mara. Every challenge we face seems smaller under your guidance." Mara smiled softly. "Limits exist to be understood, not feared. Our goal is to show the galaxy what can be achieved when knowledge and courage work together." Returning to her ship, Mara reviewed projections for the upcoming negotiation. She noticed a potential vulnerability in the family's network, a dependency on a trade route that could be optimized more efficiently. Not to exploit them unfairly, but to demonstrate the unique capability her company offered. Every move she planned was deliberate, every suggestion designed to build respect rather than fear. The day of the formal meeting arrived. Mara's ship docked alongside the family's flagship, a massive vessel shaped like a crescent moon with reflective surfaces that gleamed in the starlight. She entered the meeting room with steady steps, her presence commanding attention immediately. Representatives from various systems filled the room, all eyes on the scene. Mara's calm confidence created a ripple of quiet acknowledgement. The discussion began formally. Mara presented her proposals with precision, using holographic displays and real-time simulations to illustrate the advantages of her plans. The family representatives listened carefully, their expressions guarded but attentive. Mara noticed, Dalen watching her closely, testing her resolve with subtle questions and challenges. As the conversation progressed, Mara introduced the optimized trade route she had identified, explaining how it could increase efficiency and benefit all parties. She spoke clearly, with data and projections to support every claim. Alaric and the other family members listened intently, some nodding slightly, others exchanging subtle glances. Suddenly, a representative from the family challenged her calculations, questioning a minor detail in her projection. Mara remained composed, calmly explaining the reasoning and demonstrating how the model accounted for all variables. The room fell silent as the clarity of her response became apparent. Even the doubters could not dismiss the logic and precision she presented. After the meeting, Mara stepped aside to reflect. She knew the family respected strength and intelligence, and today she had shown both. Yet she remained cautious. Power was not simply given, and she anticipated further tests in the coming days. Back on her ship, Mara and Lyra reviewed the meeting in detail. "You handled that well," Lyra said. "You demonstrated strength, intelligence, and composure. Few could match you in that room." Mara nodded. "Composure is the foundation. Strength without calm can become recklessness. Intelligence without humility can become arrogance. We must continue to act with both courage and wisdom." As night fell over the orbiting station, Mara looked out at the galaxy. She understood that this deal was only one step in a much larger journey. There would be challenges, perhaps even betrayals, but she was ready. She had built her power carefully, maintained her integrity, and proven her value through knowledge, courage, and steady determination. Mara's mind wandered briefly to the next steps. She would continue to refine her strategies, strengthen her alliances, and ensure that when the final negotiations came, she would be unshakable. No obstacle, no subtle test, and no attempt to intimidate would sway her. She had learned the value of resilience, and she had mastered the art of presence. And in the galaxy filled with countless stars and endless possibilities, Mara knew that opportunity waited for those willing to claim it. She was ready to claim hers. The stars drifted silently beyond the window of Mara's office. Her ship hovered near the orbiting trade station, where ships from every corner of the galaxy came and went. Each vessel carried goods, resources, and secrets. For Mara, the galaxy had become a vast chessboard, and every movement on it mattered. 3 days had passed since the meeting with Alaric's family. The discussions had been promising, but she knew the final decision had not yet been made. Mara had built her company through determination and intelligence, but she also knew that powerful families like Alaric's did not easily share control. They respected strength, but they also feared it. Lyra entered the office quietly, holding a tablet filled with new reports. "Mara, we received an encrypted message from one of our contacts inside the family's network," she said. "It seems they are reconsidering parts of the agreement." Mara looked up from her console. "Reconsidering how?" "They are discussing the ownership clauses. They want to reduce our control share from 40% to 20%. If we accept that, we lose decision-making power in several sectors." Mara leaned back in her chair, her eyes narrowing slightly. "So they are testing boundaries again. They want to see how far we will bend before breaking." Lyra nodded. "That is how it seems. What do you want to do?" Mara stood and walked to the large window that overlooked the docking bays below. Ships glided in and out, each one a symbol of trade and movement. "Prepare a counterproposal," she said after a pause. We will not lower our share. Instead, we will offer them an improved logistics system, one that will save them 10% in fuel and maintenance. That way they gain profit without reducing our control. Lyra smiled faintly. That is clever. They get more benefit without realizing they gave us what we wanted. Mara nodded. It is not deception. It is alignment. The best deals are the ones where both sides believe they have won. Later that day, Mara met with her senior advisors in the main conference room of her ship. The table projected three-dimensional models of their operations, stations, ships, and trade routes stretching across multiple systems. Her team was loyal and skilled, each person representing a different strength. Taryn, the lead engineer, spoke first. Our new transport design has passed all safety tests. It can reduce delivery time by 15%. If we present this at the next meeting, it will strengthen our position. Excellent, Mara said. We will show them that our innovation is unmatched. They respect power, and innovation is power. Another advisor, Rin, added, we should also prepare for potential sabotage. There are rumors that some of their lesser partners do not want this deal to succeed. Mara's eyes sharpened. Then we will be ready. Increase network security. Double-check all transmissions. If they try to undermine us, we will expose them with proof. The meeting continued late into the night. Plans were made, scenarios simulated, and every possible risk was analyzed. Mara felt the familiar sense of calm that came with preparation. She had faced worse before, and each trial had only made her stronger. The next morning, a new message arrived from Alaric's assistant. The family invited Mara to their private estate on the planet Vesson Prime to discuss the final terms of the deal. The estate was famous for its beauty and secrecy, surrounded by silver forests and crystal lakes. Few outsiders were ever invited there. Lyra frowned when she read the message. This could be a trap, Mara. If they plan to pressure you, that is where they will do it. Mara gave a small smile. If they plan to test me, I will let them. Strength is not proven in comfort. Prepare the ship. We leave for Vesson Prime. The journey to the planet took several hours. As the ship descended through the clouds, Mara gazed at the world below. The forests shimmered with metallic leaves that reflected the light of two suns. The estate itself was vast, built on high cliffs overlooking a glowing lake. When Mara stepped out, attendants greeted her politely and led her through grand halls lined with ancient art. The air was calm, but beneath that calm she could sense tension. Every word, every movement here had meaning. In the main chamber, Alaric waited, surrounded by several family members. Dalen was among them, his expression cool and unreadable. Mara, Alaric said, rising to greet her. Welcome to our home. I trust your journey was pleasant. It was, Mara replied with a polite nod. Vesson Prime is beautiful. I appreciate your hospitality. Let us begin, Alaric said, gesturing toward a long table covered with data pads and holographic displays. We have reviewed your proposal again. Your terms are fair, but there are some concerns among our advisors. Mara sat calmly. I am here to address any concerns you have. Dalen leaned forward, his voice sharp. Some of us feel your company is too independent. Your control share gives you significant influence. We worry that your leadership might one day conflict with our family's interests. Mara met his eyes. Partnership requires balance. I seek cooperation, not control. Our goal is mutual success. My company's strength will strengthen yours as well. The discussion continued for hours. Questions were raised, data was reviewed, and subtle arguments were exchanged. Mara remained composed through it all. Her calm tone and logical reasoning began to shift the atmosphere. Even those who had entered the room with doubt started to see the clarity of her vision. But as the meeting neared its end, something unexpected happened. One of the younger advisors presented a report claiming that Mara's company had hidden financial risks. It was false data, fabricated to discredit her. Alaric looked surprised, and several members began whispering. Mara instantly understood what had happened. Someone within the family had planted false information to weaken her position. Mara rose slowly, her expression calm but firm. These numbers are incorrect. I can prove it right now. She took a small device from her pocket and connected it to the table's data feed. Within moments, accurate records from her company's main server appeared on the holographic display. Every transaction was transparent and verifiable. This is our official record, Mara said. We have nothing to hide. Whoever provided you with false data is misleading you. The room fell silent. The truth was clear. Several of the family members exchanged uneasy looks. Dalen's expression darkened slightly, but he said nothing. Alaric finally spoke. It seems there has been a misunderstanding. We will verify the information. Mara nodded once. Of course. I understand the importance of trust. When the meeting ended, Alaric approached her privately. You handled that with grace. Many would have lost control, but you did not. Mara met his gaze evenly. Control is not lost through anger. It is lost through fear, and I have none. Alaric studied her for a long moment before nodding. You are stronger than I expected. Later, Mara and Lyra returned to the ship. As the engines hummed to life, Lyra exhaled deeply. That was close. Someone inside that family clearly wants to sabotage this deal. Mara looked out the window, her eyes thoughtful. Yes, they wanted to see if they could make me lose balance. But they failed. This was not just about business. It was a test of composure. And they now know I will not break. Lyra smiled slightly. You were brilliant, as always. Mara gave a faint smile in return. We must stay alert. This is not over. They will test us again, but we will always be ready. As her ship lifted from Vesson Prime, the twin suns reflected off its hull, casting light across the sky. Mara watched the world shrink below, her mind already turning to strategy. The betrayal had not shaken her. It had strengthened her resolve. She opened a secure channel to her communications officer. Send a message to all departments. Strengthen internal security. I want every transaction monitored. And find out who leaked that false report. Yes, Chief, the officer replied. Mara turned back toward the window, her reflection visible in the glass. She had faced deceit, yet she had held her ground. In her world, trust was a rare and fragile thing. But truth and strength could still cut through the darkness. She knew the coming days would bring more challenges. The family's respect was growing, but so was their unease. Power attracted both admiration and fear, and Mara had both now. She would have to move carefully, making every step count, turning every attempt to break her into an opportunity to rise higher. The stars shimmered outside, and the engines of her ship glowed brighter as it accelerated toward the next destination. Mara stood tall, her voice calm and certain when she spoke. We will not only survive this, she said quietly to herself. We will lead. Mara's ship drifted through the dark stretch of space between systems, its engines glowing a soft blue. Inside, she stood before the wide observation window, watching the faint lines of distant stars. The galaxy felt calm, but Mara knew calmness could hide storms. The family had tested her before, and she sensed another challenge was near. Lyra entered the command room carrying a new report. Mara, there is something strange. We intercepted coded traffic from the family's network. Someone is spreading rumors that your company's data systems were hacked. Mara turned from the window slowly. Hacked? By who? Lyra shook her head. The messages don't say. They just claim that your financial records are compromised. If people believe this, it could damage our reputation before the deal is finalized. Mara's expression remained calm, though her mind moved quickly. Rumors spread faster than truth. We must act before the false story grows. She walked to her console and activated a secure line to her cybersecurity chief. Run a full diagnostic of our systems, she said. Find out if there has been any breach. If not, prepare a public proof that our network is clean. We will release the report within the next cycle. The officer's voice came through the line, steady and confident. Understood, Chief. We will verify every system. When the call ended, Lyra sighed. Someone really wants to break this deal. They failed before, so now they are trying to destroy your reputation. Mara gave a faint smile. When power grows, resistance follows. But truth is light and lies cannot stay hidden forever. For the next few hours, the crew worked tirelessly. Engineers, analysts, and communication officers moved through the corridors, exchanging reports and data logs. Mara walked among them, calm and composed, speaking words of encouragement. Her presence steadied everyone. Late that night, Lyra returned with a small data pad. The results are clear. No hack, all systems are clean. Whoever spread those rumors created them from nothing. Mara nodded slowly. Then we used the truth as our weapon. She recorded a statement for the Interstellar Business Network. Her words were simple and precise. Our company systems are secure and verified by independent audits. False reports will not shake our commitment to integrity. Progress stands on truth, and we will continue to move forward. The message spread across the systems quickly. Within hours, several major news outlets confirmed her claims. The rumors began to fade, replaced by admiration for her calm response. But Mara knew this peace would not last long. The family would not stop testing her strength until they saw the limits of it. 2 days later, she received a new invitation from Alaric. The message was polite but direct. Mara, we request your presence for the final signing of the agreement. Bring only your closest advisor. The meeting will be held on our orbital platform above Vesan Prime. Lyra read the message and frowned. Only one advisor? That sounds suspicious. They are trying to isolate you. Mara looked at the message again, her mind steady. Yes, they want to see how I behave without the full support of my team. But we will go. Sometimes facing a storm directly is the only way to calm it. When the day arrived, Mara and Lyra traveled to the orbital platform. The structure floated above the planet like a silver ring, its surface covered in shimmering solar panels and tall spires. Inside, the air was cool and silent. Alaric and Dalen were waiting in a large circular room at the top of the platform. The room was lined with transparent walls, showing the blue curve of Vesan Prime below. A long table stood at the center, and on it the final contract was displayed as a glowing holographic document. Mara, Alaric greeted with a measured tone. It is good to see you again. I trust the rumors did not trouble you. Mara smiled calmly. Rumors do not concern me. Truth always stands taller. Alaric nodded slowly. That is why you are here. Today we finalize everything. Dalen watched her closely. His eyes held a quiet intensity as if he were waiting for something. Mara could sense it. There was a hidden plan in motion. They began the meeting. The terms were read aloud, each clause displayed in holographic light. Everything seemed in order, yet Mara's instinct warned her that something was not right. Then, halfway through the discussion, Dalen leaned forward and placed a small data drive on the table. This contains new evidence, he said. We have received information that your transport designs are not original. They were supposedly copied from another company. That accusation could end this deal, Lyra gasped quietly. Mara stayed silent for a long moment, then spoke in a calm voice. And where did you get this information? Dalen smiled faintly. From reliable sources. Mara reached out and activated the hologram above the data drive. A stream of blue light filled the room, displaying what appeared to be schematics. At first glance, they looked like her designs, but Mara noticed small errors, mismatched data tags, and incorrect calibration lines. These are not my company's designs, she said firmly. They are imitations. Poor ones, Alaric looked uncertain. Can you prove that? Yes, Mara said. If I may connect to your console, I will show you. She took her own device and linked it to the platform system. Within seconds, her genuine files appeared beside the false ones. The differences were clear. Her voice remained calm as she explained every detail, showing the originality of her work. When she finished, silence filled the room. Even Alaric looked impressed. Dalen's expression hardened slightly, but he said nothing. Mara turned toward Alaric. It seems there are those among your ranks who would rather destroy this partnership than see it succeed. Alaric studied her for a moment before speaking. You are right. It seems there are hidden motives within my own family. I owe you an apology, Mara. You owe me nothing, she said. You owe the truth to your own people. A deal built on lies cannot stand. Dalen stood abruptly, his voice rising slightly. You think you can talk to us like that? You are just... Enough, Alaric said sharply, cutting him off. You will not speak that way in my presence. The tension in the room deepened, but Mara did not move. She stood tall, calm, and unbroken. Her voice was even when she spoke again. I came here to build something greater than control or pride. I came here for progress, for cooperation that benefits both sides. If that cannot be done with respect, then there is no deal to sign. Alaric looked at her quietly. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then he sighed, a deep sound that seemed to carry both frustration and admiration. You are the strongest negotiator I have ever met, Mara. I see now that your strength is not just intelligence, but integrity. Very few in this galaxy can claim both. He turned to Dalen. Leave us. I will handle the rest. Dalen hesitated, then walked out silently. The room grew quieter, the hum of the platform the only sound. Mara, Alaric said after a pause, you have faced every challenge we placed before you. You have proven yourself more than worthy. I will sign this agreement on your terms. Mara looked at him steadily. Thank you, Alaric. I accept, but only if the deal is based on equal respect. I do not need control over everything, but I will never accept injustice in any form. Alaric nodded slowly. You have it. From this moment, we are partners. He signed the holographic document and the projection sealed itself in a flash of blue light. Lyra let out a quiet breath of relief. The deal was done, but even as the agreement was finalized, Mara sensed something more beneath Alaric's calm tone. Perhaps it was respect, perhaps something like regret. She knew that even though she had won this battle, others would come. In her world, peace was never permanent. When they returned to their ship, Lyra smiled. You did it, Mara. You won. You turned every trap into a victory. Mara looked out at the vast expanse of space, her eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. We won this part, yes. But power and respect are not trophies. They must be guarded, protected, and renewed through action. The next challenge will always come. And we will always be ready. As the ship left the orbit of Vesson Prime, Mara stood quietly, thinking of everything that had happened. Every test, every moment of tension, every attempt to break her had only made her stronger. She understood now that leadership was not about wealth or control. It was about steadiness, the ability to face pressure and still hold to truth. Far behind her, the family's platform grew smaller, until it was only a faint speck against the stars. Ahead lay open space full of unknown paths and possibilities. Mara turned to Lyra and said softly, We will continue to grow. We will show the galaxy that respect, honesty, and courage are not weaknesses. They are the greatest powers of all. Lyra nodded, smiling with pride. And the galaxy will remember your name. Mara looked once more at the endless stars, her voice calm and steady. Names fade, but what we build can last forever. The days after the deal were filled with celebration across the human colonies. News channels reported the historic partnership between Mara's company and the most powerful trade family in the system. For the first time in many years, small colonies would gain access to new technologies and fair trade. People spoke her name with respect and hope, but for Mara, celebration was not her focus. She knew peace was not the end but the beginning of a new test. Real success was not just signing a deal, it was keeping it honest and working. She spent hours reviewing the first phase of production, ensuring everything was handled with precision. Her office aboard the flagship Astra Dawn was quiet. Lyra entered, carrying a report. Mara, production on 3 colonies has started. The workers are motivated. But there is something else. We received a message from Alaric. He wants to meet again, in private. Mara looked up from her console. Did he say why? Lyra shook her head. He only said it is important. He will come to our headquarters on Vesta Station. Mara nodded slowly. Then we will prepare for his arrival. 2 days later, Alaric arrived with a small security team. He looked calm but tired. The years of leadership had clearly weighed on him. When he entered Mara's office, he greeted her politely. Mara, congratulations. The first shipments are already bringing profit to both sides, he said. Profit is good, she replied, but I care more about the progress of the workers. Are they being treated fairly on your side? Alaric gave a faint smile. You never stop thinking like a builder. That is why I respect you. He sat down, his eyes thoughtful. But there is a problem. Dalen has not accepted this new order. He still believes that our family should control everything. He has gathered a group of supporters within the board, and they are preparing to challenge my leadership. Lyra, who stood nearby, frowned. You mean they want to overthrow you? Alaric nodded slowly. Yes, and they see you as the cause. They say the family has become weak under your influence. Mara stayed silent for a long moment. I see. So this is not about business anymore. This is about pride. Yes, Alaric said. And pride can destroy everything we built. Mara stood by the window watching the planet below. If Dalen moves against you, he may also move against me. But I will not be silent if he tries to harm innocent people or destroy the agreement. We will face this together. Alaric looked at her with gratitude. I am glad to hear that, because the board meeting is tomorrow. and I will need your presence there. The next day, the meeting began in the family's grand hall on Vesta Station. The hall was filled with board members, investors, and representatives from many colonies. Holographic screens floated above them, showing the company's progress. Dalen stood near the front, his expression cold. "Brothers and sisters," he began, "this so-called partnership has weakened our influence. We gave away control to an outsider, a human woman who now speaks for our future. Our profits are high, but our pride is low. We must return to our old ways." Murmurs filled the room. Some members nodded in agreement, others looked uneasy. Alaric rose slowly. "Dalen, our pride means nothing if it costs us respect. We have gained not only wealth but trust from every colony under this new system. You would throw that away for control." Dalen pointed toward Mara. "And you would let her lead you. She doesn't belong to our bloodline. She doesn't understand our history." Mara stepped forward before Alaric could reply. Her voice was calm and clear. "You are right. I am not from your bloodline. But I understand what every true leader should know. Power without respect is weakness. You cannot demand loyalty through fear. You earn it through fairness." Dalen laughed softly. "Fine words. But you speak like someone who doesn't understand the real world. The galaxy runs on strength." Mara met his gaze without fear. "Strength is not cruelty. Real strength is standing for what is right, even when others do not. You can destroy buildings, but you cannot destroy ideas." The room grew quiet. Alaric looked around at the silent faces. Then he spoke firmly. "I stand with Mara. Those who want progress will stand with me. Those who want the past can follow Dalen." One by one, members of the board began to vote. Their votes appeared as glowing symbols above their seats. When the final count appeared, Alaric's side had the majority. Dalen's face hardened. "This is not over," he said coldly. "You may have won here, but the galaxy will always favor power." He turned and left the hall with a few supporters. The doors closed behind him with a soft hiss. Mara turned to Alaric. "He will try again." "I know," Alaric said, "but now at least the people have chosen. They chose progress." In the following weeks, Mara and Alaric worked together to stabilize their alliance. Factories opened on new worlds, trade routes expanded, and living conditions improved for workers across multiple colonies. Mara spent long days traveling between planets, inspecting production sites, and meeting with local leaders. Everywhere she went, people greeted her warmly. One evening, as she returned to her ship, Lyra approached her with a serious expression. "We just received an alert from Vesta Station. A large explosion occurred near one of the family's data towers. Several systems are offline." Mara's eyes narrowed slightly. "Was anyone hurt?" "Some injuries," Lyra said. "But the real concern is that Dalen's supporters were seen near the site. It looks like sabotage." Mara straightened her shoulders. "Then we must respond, not with anger, but with order. We cannot let chaos destroy what we built." She called Alaric immediately. His face appeared on the screen, weary but determined. "Yes, it was Dalen. He is trying to destroy the communication systems to cause panic. I have already sent security forces, but he has a group of trained mercenaries. I could use your help." "You have it," Mara said without hesitation. "We will arrive within hours." When her ship reached Vesta Station, the scene was tense. Smoke drifted through parts of the city dome, and emergency lights flashed across the skywalks. Mara led a small team toward the damaged area, where security forces were exchanging fire with the mercenaries. She moved carefully through the shadows, coordinating with Alaric's men. Together, they trapped the attackers between two units. Within minutes, the situation was under control. Dalen himself was captured near the control room. His clothes were torn, and his expression was filled with rage. When he saw Mara, he spat bitter words. "You think this will last? You think your friendship can change the galaxy? You are just delaying the inevitable." Mara looked at him calmly. "Maybe, But every delay means more lives saved, more hope given, and more time for truth to grow. That is enough for me. He glared at her but said nothing more. The security team took him away. Later, as the fires were extinguished and calm returned, Alaric approached Mara. His face was lined with exhaustion, but his eyes were warm. You saved us again. Without you, the family would have fallen apart. Mara shook her head. No, Alaric. You saved yourself by choosing the right path. I only reminded you of it. He smiled faintly. You always see things clearly. Perhaps the galaxy needs more leaders like you. Mara looked out at the stars through the transparent dome. The galaxy doesn't need more leaders. It needs more listeners. People who hear the voices of those who build, who work, who hope. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then Alaric extended his hand. Then let us keep listening together. Mara took his hand firmly. Together. Months passed, and stability returned. Trade flourished, and even old rivals began to recognize the value of cooperation. The name of Mara's company became a symbol of trust. One morning, as Mara stood on the bridge of the Astrodon, Lyra entered with a quiet smile. The Council has sent a message. They want to award you with the Galactic Peace Honor for your role in rebuilding trust between human colonies and the family. Mara looked thoughtful. That is kind of them, but I did not do this for awards. I did it because someone had to stand firm when others chose pride. Still, Lyra said softly, you deserve it. You gave people hope. Mara smiled gently. Hope is the only thing that truly belongs to everyone. It cannot be owned or traded. It only grows when shared. The ship continued its journey through the stars. Outside, the light of distant suns glowed against the darkness. Lyra looked at her commander and said, Do you ever think about what would have happened if you had walked away at the gala that night before everything began? Mara's eyes softened. Sometimes, but walking away from disrespect was the first step toward walking into destiny. That night was not an ending. It was the beginning of everything that followed. She turned toward the window again. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, vast and full of unknowns. Every storm passes, she said quietly. What matters is who we become when the skies clear. Lyra smiled. And you became the one who changed everything. Mara looked ahead, her voice calm and full of purpose. No, we all did. Because humanity's greatest strength is not power or wealth. It is the courage to stand for what is right. The engines of the Astrodon flared to life, sending the ship gliding smoothly through the starfield. Behind them, the world they had rebuilt shone like a beacon of light against the dark sea of space. And for the first time in a long while, Mara allowed herself to breathe deeply, knowing that her choices had shaped not just her future, but the future of countless others. The galaxy would remember her not as a conqueror or ruler, but as a leader who chose truth over pride, hope over fear, and respect over power.